We called each other roommates for 3 years. Split the rent down the middle on paper. Kept separate Amazon accounts. Had a 2-bedroom apartment where 1 bedroom stayed suspiciously pristine for guests who never came. My mom would visit and sleep in that fake bedroom, surrounded by hastily purchased decor from Target, and tell her church friends back in Alabama how responsible her son was, living frugally with a good Christian roommate in expensive Seattle. His parents would video call and we'd answer from opposite ends of the couch, careful about camera angles, joking about whose turn it was to do dishes like we were in some sitcom about platonic male friendship. We'd been doing this dance so long we almost believed it ourselves. Until one photo, just one fucking photo taken at a friend's wedding when we thought we were hidden in a corner, when we'd had just enough champagne to forget to perform, when his hand was on my face and my eyes were closed and we looked exactly like what we were, ended up on Instagram. Tagged. Geotagged. Algorithmically distributed to every person we'd ever lied to. The caption read, "Love is love, 2 hearts, congrats to the grooms. P.S. These two were the cutest couple their #wedding season #love wins." We didn't see it for 6 hours. By then, 43 people had liked it. 12 had commented. 5 had shared it to their stories. My phone started buzzing at 2 a.m. Text after text after text. The first one was from my little sister. Is there something you want to tell me? The second was from his boss. We need to talk Monday morning. The third was from my mother. Call me. Now. Can you build a whole life on a lie? Yes. We did it for 3 years. Can you survive when that lie implodes in the time it takes to double tap a photo? We're about to find out. If you've ever hidden who you really are because the truth felt too expensive, this story is going to hit different. Hit that like button if you want to see what happens when the closet door gets kicked open by social media, and drop a comment if you've ever been someone's roommate. Let's get into it. People think living in the closet means you're just hiding. That's not accurate. Living in the closet means you're a goddamn architect, constantly building and maintaining an elaborate structure of half-truths, strategic omissions, and carefully calibrated performances. Jake and I met at a tech mixer in 2021. I was a product manager at a mid-sized startup. He was a software engineer at Amazon. We were both good at our jobs, good at being professionally palatable, good at the specific kind of masculine presentation that makes straight people comfortable. Our first date was at a gay bar in Capitol Hill. Our second was at his apartment. By the 3rd month, we'd fallen into something that felt dangerously close to real. "We should move in together," he said one night, tangled up in my sheets. "Yeah." I traced patterns on his shoulder blade. "But like, as roommates. Officially." I pulled back to look at his face. He wasn't joking. "My parents still think I'm figuring myself out," he continued. "Some confused phase. If I tell them I'm living with a boyfriend." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. My family situation was worse. Small town Alabama. Evangelical. The kind of church where they prayed over you if you admitted to watching Game of Thrones. Coming out wasn't an option. It was a detonation. 2 bedrooms, I said. We make one look lived in. Separate bathroom stuff. We never post photos together on social media. We're just 2 bros, being financially responsible in an expensive city. We moved in that summer. Signed a lease that listed us as unrelated co-tenants. Set up the guest bedroom with military precision. A bed from IKEA, some generic artwork, a basket of toiletries that slowly collected dust. The first time my mom visited, I was so nervous I thought I'd throw up. Jake and I had practiced. We'd rehearsed our stories. We'd removed every trace of coupleness from the common areas. "This is Jake," I introduced him. "My roommate." "Pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Chen," Jake said, shaking her hand with exactly the right amount of friendly distance. She loved him. Of course she did. He was polite, employed, helped her carry her suitcase upstairs. He made a joke about me never taking out the trash that made her laugh. That night, after she went to sleep in our fake bedroom, Jake and I lay in my actual bedroom, our bedroom, in complete silence, barely breathing, terrified of making any sound that might expose us. "This is insane," I whispered. "I know," he whispered back. We can't live like this forever. I know. But we did. For 3 years. It became routine. When his parents visited, same performance. When coworkers came over for dinner parties, we were the conveniently located roommates who split hosting duties. When my sister asked why I never seemed to date anyone, I fed her stories about failed Hinge matches and being too busy with work. The lying got easier. That was the worst part. How natural it became. We developed a whole language of it. My roommate and I are checking out that new restaurant, meant date night. Jake's visiting his family for Thanksgiving, meant I'm spending the holiday alone because we can't risk going together. We're thinking of renewing the lease, meant we're staying together another year. Our friends, our actual friends, the ones who knew, thought it was tragic. You guys are basically married, our friend Sophie said one night over drinks. She was a lesbian who'd come out at 16 and never looked back. You file fake tax returns and pretend to be strangers to your own families. For what? For peace, Jake said quietly. That's not peace, Sophie shot back. That's just a different kind of war. But she didn't understand. She'd grown up in San Francisco with liberal parents who threw her a coming-out party. She didn't know what it was like to calculate the cost of honesty and find it unaffordable. The apartment itself became a physical manifestation of our double life. The kitchen, safe, neutral territory. The living room, carefully curated for public consumption. His bedroom, the stage set, gathering dust. My bedroom, our actual bedroom, where we could finally exhale. We had rules. Never hold hands outside the apartment. Never use terms of endearment where anyone might hear. If someone unexpected knocked, Jake would grab his laptop and relocate to his fake bedroom, messing up the covers to make it look lived in. At work, I never mentioned him beyond, my roommate helped me prep for that presentation, or my roommate and I are both working from home today. My coworkers assumed he was just some guy I split bills with. I let them. The tech industry liked to put rainbow flags in their email signatures during Pride Month, but that didn't mean it was safe. I'd watched other gay men get quietly pushed out of leadership tracks, passed over for promotions, subjected to the death by 1,000 cuts of being not quite a culture fit. Jake's situation at Amazon was similar. He was good at his job, great, even, but he'd watched an openly gay engineer get stuck at the same level for years while straight guys leapfrogged past him. So he stayed quiet. We both did. Sometimes I forget this isn't real, Jake said one Sunday morning. We were making breakfast, moving around each other in that comfortable way couples do. Like, I have to remind myself that we're lying. Because this feels true. It is true, I said. We're just hiding the truth. That's the same as lying. I know. The cognitive dissonance was exhausting. We were lying to everyone in our lives, but we weren't lying to each other. We were building a real relationship on a foundation of elaborate deception. We were deeply in love while being deeply closeted. And somehow, impossibly, it worked. Until that wedding. Our friend Michael, one of the ones who knew, was marrying his boyfriend in a beautiful ceremony at a winery outside Seattle. It was one of the few places we could be ourselves. No family members. No co-workers. Just friends who knew the truth. We danced together. We held hands. We kissed in corners when we thought no one was watching. For one perfect day, we got to be a normal couple. We should do this more often, Jake said, slightly drunk on champagne and happiness. Find more spaces where we can just exist. Yeah, I agreed, pulling him closer. We should. That night, we fell asleep in our actual bed, in our actual apartment, still wearing our wedding clothes, phones silenced. We had no idea that while we slept, a single photograph was spreading across the internet like a wildfire. We had no idea that the careful architecture we'd spent 3 years building was already collapsing. We had no idea that by morning, everyone would know. I woke up to my phone having a seizure. Buzz, 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 buzz. The sound drilled into my skull until I grabbed the phone off the nightstand, squinting at the screen in the early morning light. 2:47 a.m. 17 missed calls. 42 text messages. My Instagram notifications had exceeded the app's ability to count them. Jake. I shook his shoulder. Jake, wake up. MMPH. What time is it? Something's wrong. He sat up, instantly alert in that way he got during production incidents at work. His own phone started buzzing on his nightstand. A chain reaction. I opened Instagram first. That was my mistake. I should have started with the texts, built up to it, prepared myself. But I opened Instagram and saw myself. Not just me. Us. It was a beautiful photo, objectively. Golden hour lighting filtering through the winery windows. Jake's hand on my cheek, tender and possessive at once. My eyes closed, leaning into his touch. Both of us smiling like we'd just heard the best news of our lives. We looked happy. We looked in love. We looked exactly like what we'd spent 3 years pretending we weren't. The caption, posted by Michael's cousin who I'd met exactly once. Love is love, 2 hearts, congrats to the grooms. P.S. These two were the cutest couple their #wedding season #lovewins. Posted 8 hours ago. 247 likes. 34 comments. And tagged. We were both tagged. Oh fuck, Jake breathed, looking over my shoulder. Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. My hands started shaking. I clicked through to see who'd liked it. My sister. 3 of my co-workers. Jake's boss. 2 guys from his team. My college roommate. His aunt. The comments were worse. Wait, I thought you guys were just roommates? Okay, this explains so much. Congratulations. I didn't know you were together. Does this mean? And then, 15 minutes ago, from an unknown number that I somehow knew was my mother. Call me immediately. We need to delete it, Jake said, already moving. We need to. Can we ask Michael's cousin to take it down? We need to. It's too late. My voice sounded hollow. Look how many people have already seen it. Someone's probably screenshot it already. So what do we do? I didn't have an answer. My phone rang. My sister, Emma. I stared at her name on the screen. Answer it, Jake said. I answered. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Emma's voice exploded through the speaker. Not angry, excited. You have a boyfriend? For how long? Why didn't you tell me? Oh my God, I'm so dumb. You guys were never roommates, were you? The guest bedroom. Holy shit, was that all fake? Emma. I'm not mad. Well, I'm a little mad you didn't trust me, but mostly I'm just, are you okay? Is this how you wanted people to find out? No, I managed. Definitely not. Shit. Okay. What do you need? I don't know. Have you talked to Mom? My stomach dropped. No. She called me an hour ago. I'm not gonna lie to you, she's not taking it well. How not well? Emma hesitated. She said some things about demons and sin and needing to pray harder. Then she hung up on me when I said I already knew and was fine with it. You already knew? Dude, come on. I visited you twice. That guest bedroom looked like a furniture showroom. Nobody lives like that. I'm not an idiot. Despite everything, I almost laughed. Why didn't you say anything? Because I figured you'd tell me when you were ready. I just didn't think. She trailed off. I didn't think it would happen like this. After we hung up, Jake was staring at his own phone, face pale. My dad texted, he said quietly. Just one word. Disgraceful. Jake. My boss emailed. Wants to meet first thing Monday. Says we need to discuss maintaining appropriate professional boundaries. They can't fire you for being gay. That's illegal. They won't fire me for being gay. They'll fire me for creating an uncomfortable work environment, or unprofessional conduct, or some other bullshit reason. His hands were shaking now too. I told you. I fucking told you this would happen. You didn't tell me anything. We both agreed. We agreed to hide. And you couldn't even do that right. You just had to have your hands all over me in public. Are you seriously blaming me right now? I'm saying we had one rule. One rule. Don't get caught. So this is my fault? The photo existing is my fault. I don't know. Maybe. He stood up, pacing. Maybe if you hadn't been so fucking obvious at the wedding. We were at a gay wedding surrounded by friends. Where else are we supposed to be ourselves? Nowhere. That's the point. We can't be ourselves anywhere because this is what happens. The words hung between us like a slap. My phone rang again. My mother this time. I almost didn't answer. But not answering felt worse somehow, like I was confirming every terrible thing she was probably thinking. Hello, Daniel. Her voice was cold, controlled. The way it got when she was furious but refusing to show it in public. I have just seen the most disturbing photograph. Mom, are you in a homosexual relationship with your roommate? The clinical way she said it made my skin crawl. His name is Jake. Answer the question. Jake was watching me, his own anger draining into fear. Yes, I said. We're together. We have been for 3 years. Silence. Then, how could you do this to me? To you. Do you have any idea what people will say? I'll have to resign from the women's ministry. Your father's deacons will want answers. Your grandmother. Oh God, your grandmother can never know about this. I didn't do this to you, Mom. I'm living my life. You're living in sin. Her voice cracked. I raised you better than this. I raised you in the church. I taught you right from wrong. There's nothing wrong with. Don't you dare tell me that this perversion, is acceptable. I won't hear it. Then why did you call? Another silence. I called because you're my son. Because despite this wickedness, I still love you. And I need you to understand that this isn't who you are. You're confused. You've been led astray by Jake. By the enemy. By the culture. By living in that godless city surrounded by godless people who told you this was okay. I closed my eyes. I'm not confused, Mom. You are. You just don't know it yet. But there's hope. There are ministries, programs that can help you. I don't need help. You need Jesus. I have Jesus. I also have Jake. You can't have both. The ultimatum landed like a punch. What? If you continue in this lifestyle, you are choosing to walk away from God. And if you walk away from God, you walk away from this family. My throat tightened. You're saying I have to choose. I'm saying God already chose for you. You just need to accept His will. Jake was right there, close enough to hear every word. His face had gone completely blank. What if this is His will? I tried. What if He made me this way? God doesn't make mistakes. But He gives us free will, and you're using yours to love someone. That's the mistake. To embrace sin. She was yelling now, the control breaking. To throw away your soul for some fleeting physical temptation. Do you think this is love? Real love doesn't condemn you to hell. Mom, I need you to come home. This week. We'll work through this together. We'll find you help. But you have to end this relationship. You have to repent. I'm not ending anything. Then you're not my son. She hung up. I sat there with the phone pressed to my ear, listening to the silence where my mother used to be. Jake reached for me. I pulled away. Don't, I said. We'll figure this out. How? How do we figure this out? My family just disowned me. Your boss is probably going to fire you. Everyone knows now. Everyone. And we can't put this back in the box. Maybe we don't put it back. I looked at him. What? Maybe. He swallowed hard. Maybe this is it. Maybe we stop hiding. You literally just blamed me for the photo. I know. I'm sorry. I was scared and I lashed out and... He ran his hands through his hair. I'm still scared. But I'm also tired. Aren't you tired? I was exhausted. 3 years of lying had hollowed me out. But I was also furious. At the photo. At Michael's cousin for posting it. At my mother for making me choose. At Jake for suggesting we stop hiding when hiding was the only thing that had kept us safe. At myself for being stupid enough to think we could have both. I need to be alone, I said. Daniel. Just, please. Go to your fake bedroom or something. I can't do this right now. He left. I sat there as the sun came up, watching my phone light up with notifications, each one a reminder that our carefully constructed lie had completely disintegrated. The roommate era was over. I had no idea what came next. By Monday morning, the photo had been shared 127 times. Someone had screenshot it and posted it to Twitter where it got 4,000 likes. A local LGBTQ+ blog had picked it up as a heartwarming moment of queer joy at a Seattle wedding. We'd become a symbol. We'd become a story. We hadn't consented to any of it. Jake went to his meeting with his boss at 9 a.m. I worked from home, from the apartment that suddenly felt like a crime scene, evidence of our double life scattered everywhere. He came back at 11. They're not firing me, he said, dropping his bag by the door. But they're concerned about the optics of me having misrepresented my living situation to coworkers. Apparently, several people feel deceived by the roommate story. That's not even legal grounds. They don't need legal grounds. They just need me uncomfortable enough to quit. He loosened his tie. They suggested I might be happier at a more progressive company. Said they wanted to avoid any workplace drama. Fuck them. Yeah. He sat down heavily on the couch. How's your day going? My mom's church friends have been calling, leaving voicemails about praying for my soul. One of them suggested I was molested as a child and that's why I'm confused about my sexuality. Jesus Christ. Also my boss, who's actually cool, pulled me into a one-on-one to ask if I was okay. Said she'd seen the photo and wanted to make sure I had support. So that's one person in my corner, at least. Jake nodded, staring at his hands. My parents want me to come home. To Wisconsin. For a serious family conversation. Are you going? I don't know. My mom keeps texting about forgiveness and God's plan. My dad hasn't said anything beyond that first text. He looked up at me. What about yours? Radio silence after the phone call. Emma says she's been posting Bible verses on Facebook about loving the sinner, hating the sin. The greatest hits. We sat in silence for a while. The apartment felt different now, like the walls were closing in. Everything that had felt safe suddenly felt suffocating. Sophie called me, Jake said eventually. Said we should come stay with her for a few days. Get out of the city, clear our heads. I can't just leave work. Daniel, when's the last time you took a vacation? I couldn't remember. That's how we ended up at Sophie's cabin on Whidbey Island that Wednesday. It was small, rustic, surrounded by trees and silence. Cell service was spotty. The nearest neighbor was half a mile away. You both look like shit, Sophie announced when we arrived, pulling us into fierce hugs. When's the last time either of you slept? What day is it? I tried to joke. Not funny. Come on, I made food. Her girlfriend, Rachel, had prepared enough pasta to feed a small army. We sat around their worn kitchen table and for the first time in days, I felt like I could breathe. So, Sophie said, pouring wine. How bad is it really? Jake and I exchanged glances. My family's planning some kind of intervention, Jake said, complete with a recommended conversion therapy program. Those are illegal in Washington, Rachel said immediately. She was a civil rights lawyer. They're recommending one in Florida. Jesus. My mom told me I'm walking away from God, I added. My sister's the only one still talking to me. My dad hasn't said anything, which might be worse than saying something. Sophie shook her head. I'm so sorry. You guys deserve better than this. We deserve what we get for lying for 3 years, Jake said bitterly. That's bullshit, Rachel cut in. You were protecting yourselves. That's not the same as lying. Feels the same. Well, it's not. She leaned forward. You know what I see. I see two people who loved each other enough to build a whole life together under impossible circumstances. You didn't lie because you wanted to hurt anyone. You lied because the alternative was losing everything. We lost everything anyway, I said. Not everything. Sophie reached across the table, taking both our hands. You still have each other. You still have us. You still have yourself, your actual self, not the performance version. The performance version had a relationship with his family, Jake said quietly. Did you, though? Rachel challenged. Or did a fictional character you created have a relationship with people who didn't actually know you? The question hung in the air. That night, Jake and I lay in Sophie's guest bedroom, an actual guest bedroom, not a stage set, and talked for the first time since the photo. I'm sorry for blaming you, he said into the darkness. That wasn't fair. I'm sorry for pulling away. I was just scared. I know. Me too. I rolled over to face him. What are we going to do? I don't know. Keep going, I guess. Figure out what life looks like when everyone knows. What if I don't know how to do that? Then we learn together. It should have felt romantic. Instead, it felt terrifying. The next morning, I called Emma. How's Mom? I asked. About the same. Lots of crying. Lots of prayer circles. Dad's barely speaking. You know how he gets. Yeah. For what it's worth, I think she'll come around. Eventually. She just needs time to process. How much time? I don't know. Months. Years. But she loves you. Even if she's being a judgmental asshole about it right now. I laughed despite myself. Thanks. And hey, I've been doing some reading. About how to support you. If you want to talk about any of this, I'm here. My throat tightened. Thanks, Sam. Also, I told Mom that if she doesn't get her act together, she's not meeting any future nieces or nephews from me. She didn't love that. You didn't have to. Yeah, I did. You're my brother. If she can't accept you, she doesn't get to pretend everything's normal with me. After we hung up, I found Jake on the cabin's back deck, staring at the water. My dad called, he said when I joined him. Actually called, not texted. And he said he doesn't understand it. He doesn't think it's right. He's disappointed. Jake's voice was carefully neutral. But he's not cutting me off. He said, you're still my son, even if you're making choices I don't agree with. That's something. It's more than I expected. We stood there watching the waves, our shoulders touching. I've been thinking, Jake said, about the apartment, about the guest bedroom. What about it? I want to turn it into an office, or a gaming room, or just anything but a monument to our closet. Jake. I'm not saying we need to post couple photos every day or show up to family Christmas holding hands. I'm just saying, maybe we stop actively hiding. Maybe we just live, and let people deal with it however they're going to deal with it. What if my family never comes around? Then they don't. And that's their loss, not yours. He made it sound simple. It wasn't simple. But maybe it didn't have to be complicated either. Okay, I said. Okay. Let's turn the guest bedroom into whatever you want. Let's stop performing. Let's just see what happens. He turned to me, searching my face. You're sure? I'm terrified. But I'm also tired of being scared. Yeah, he said softly. Me too. We stayed at the cabin for 3 more days. No family calls. No work emails. Just us and Sophie and Rachel, eating too much food and talking about anything but the photo. On Sunday, we drove back to Seattle. The apartment looked exactly the same. But somehow everything had changed. Jake started clearing out the guest bedroom that night. I changed my relationship status on Facebook to, in a relationship with Jake Morrison. It felt like jumping off a cliff. It felt like finally coming up for air. 3 weeks after the photo, Jake's company announced a mutual separation agreement. Translation: they paid him to leave quietly and avoid a discrimination lawsuit. He took the money, started looking for new jobs, came out officially on LinkedIn with a post about bringing my whole self to work that got 500 likes and 3 recruiter messages within an hour. Tech companies love diversity initiatives, he said, scrolling through offers. As long as you're diverse somewhere else first. My situation at work improved. Weirdly. Turns out being out made me more relatable to my team. People asked about Jake. Invited us both to happy hours. One coworker told me her brother was gay and she'd been trying to figure out how to support him. Could I recommend any resources? It was disorienting. At my old job in Alabama, being gay was a liability. Here, it was apparently a networking opportunity. But family was different. My mother didn't call for a month. When she finally did, it was brief and painful. I've been praying about this, she said. And I think I need more time. Okay. But I want you to know I'm trying. I'm really trying to understand. It wasn't acceptance. But it wasn't total rejection either. I'd take it. Jake's parents agreed to meet us for dinner, Neutral Territory, a restaurant halfway between Seattle and their home in Spokane. We drove 3 hours in tense silence. His mother hugged him when we arrived. Didn't hug me. His father shook both our hands with identical firmness, a business transaction. So, his dad said once we'd ordered, how long has this been going on? 3 years, Jake said. We've been living together the whole time. As roommates, his mother said. It wasn't a question. As partners, Jake corrected gently. The roommate thing was just what we told people. Why? His father asked. Why lie? I watched Jake struggle for an answer. Because I didn't think you'd accept the truth, he finally said. His mother's face crumpled. You really think that little of us? Mom. We raised you to be honest, to trust us with things. And instead you built this elaborate deception. Because every time LGBTQ issues came up, you talked about it like it was a disease. Jake's voice rose. Remember when Wisconsin legalized gay marriage? Dad called it the degradation of family values. You signed that petition against trans kids in school bathrooms. What was I supposed to think? His father's jaw tightened. Those are policy positions. That's different from your own son. How? How is it different? Silence. We don't hate you, his mother said quietly. We're trying to reconcile this with what we believe. And what do you believe? I asked, surprising myself by speaking. She looked at me, really looked at me for the first time. I believe my son is a good person who's making choices I don't understand. I believe God calls us to love everyone, even when we disagree with them. And I believe. She paused. I believe I'd rather have my son in my life, even if his life looks different than I imagined. It wasn't a ringing endorsement. But it was something. His father said less, but he paid for dinner. Shook my hand again before we left. Told Jake to call more often. Baby steps. Back in Seattle, we started attending an LGBTQ affirming church. It felt strange at first, seeing rainbow flags in a sanctuary, hearing sermons about God's inclusive love, watching same-sex couples hold hands during worship. Does it feel blasphemous to you? Jake whispered during our first service. No, I whispered back. It feels like coming home. We made new friends. Not just gay friends, though we found community there too, but people who knew us, not as the performance version we'd been running for years. Sophie introduced us to her board game group. Rachel connected us with her volleyball league. We started saying yes to invitations that required us to show up as a couple. Each time got easier. The guest bedroom became Jake's gaming setup. We posted a photo of the completed space on Instagram. Monitors, LED lights, gaming chair, the works. No explanation, no grand coming out announcement. Just, finally finished the gaming room. 40 people liked it. 3 commented on the setup. Nobody mentioned the roommate lie. Maybe they'd moved on. Maybe we were old news. My sister visited in November. She brought her boyfriend and insisted on taking us all to dinner. So when do I get to tell Mom about you too? She asked over appetizers. When do I get to tell her she's being an idiot for not embracing this? Emma. No, seriously. You guys are great together. You're happy. Jake's hilarious. No offense to whatever boring dudes you dated in high school, but this is clearly an upgrade. Jake laughed. I like her. She likes you too, Emma said. Which is why I've been slowly working on Mom. Sending her articles. Sharing stuff from PFLAG. I even got her to watch that documentary about Christian parents with gay kids. How'd that go? I asked. She cried through the whole thing. But she watched it. That's progress. It was progress. Glacial, painful progress, but progress nonetheless. In December, my mother sent a Christmas card addressed to Daniel and Jake. Not Daniel and roommate. Not Daniel Chen and guest. Our actual names. Inside she'd written, "Praying for you both. Love, Mom." I stared at it for 10 minutes. She signed both our names. I showed Jake. Yeah. That's not nothing. No, he agreed. It's not nothing. We didn't go home for Christmas. Neither of us was ready. But we video called both families, separately, but we called them together, didn't hide from the camera, didn't pretend. His parents asked about his job search. Told me about their new dog. Mentioned maybe visiting Seattle in the spring. My mother asked if we were going to church. Told Jake his hair looked nice. Said she missed me. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. On New Year's Eve, we went to a party at Sophie's. At midnight, Jake kissed me in a room full of people. Some who knew us, some who didn't. Nobody gasped. Nobody whispered. Nobody took a photo that would later destroy our lives. They just kept celebrating. You know what's weird? Jake said later, when we were walking home through the cold Seattle night. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For someone to recognize us from the photo and make it a thing. Maybe there is no other shoe, I said. Maybe. We walked in silence for a block. Do you regret it? He asked. The 3 years of hiding? I thought about it. I regret the lying. I regret the fear. But I don't regret the time with you. Even if it was secret, it was still real. Yeah, he said softly. It was real. When we got home, the apartment was just an apartment. Not a stage set. Not a performance venue. Just the place where we lived. Together. I changed my Facebook profile picture to one of us from the New Year's party. Not the wedding photo, that one still felt too raw, too stolen. But a new one, taken with permission, posted with intention. My mother liked it 3 days later. Didn't comment. Just liked it. I showed Jake, and he pulled me close. We're going to be okay, he said. Yeah, I agreed. I think we are. 6 months after the photo, Jake got hired at a tech company that actually meant it when they said, inclusive workplace. They had employee resource groups, gender-neutral bathrooms, pride flags that stayed up all year, not just in June. His boss, a gay man who'd been out since the 90s, took him to lunch on his first day. The roommate thing, he said casually, over Thai food. I've heard that one before. Jake tensed. Yeah. Did it for 2 years with my partner in the early 2000s. Before things got better. Before it felt safe. He smiled. We've been married for 8 years now. So it does get easier, if that helps. It did help. I got promoted at work. My boss specifically mentioned my authenticity and willingness to bring my whole self to the team in the announcement. It was corporate speak for being gay is fine here, but I'd take it. My mother called in March. Actually called, not texted. Your father and I have been talking, she said. And we'd like you both to come visit. For Easter, if you're available. My heart stuttered. Both of us. Yes. I've been doing a lot of thinking. And praying. And your sister helped me understand some things. She paused. I'm not saying I understand everything. But I'm saying I want to try. And I want to know Jake. The real Jake, not just the roommate version. Mom. I know I hurt you. The things I said when the photo came out. Her voice cracked. I was scared. And angry. And I lashed out. But you're my son. And I've missed you. We went to Alabama for Easter. It was awkward as hell. My father was polite but distant. My grandmother made pointed comments about lifestyle choices. The church ladies asked invasive questions disguised as concern. But my mother introduced Jake as Daniel's partner. She'd set up the guest bedroom, the real one, not a fake one, for both of us. She asked Jake about his job, his family, his interests. At dinner, she accidentally said, "You boys," when referring to us as a couple, then quickly corrected to, "You two." It was clumsy, but it was effort. The last night, I found her crying in the kitchen. What's wrong? I asked. Nothing's wrong. I'm just, she wiped her eyes. I'm sad about the time we lost. The 3 years you were with Jake and I didn't know. All the things I missed because you didn't feel safe telling me. Mom. No, let me finish. I'm sad, but I'm also angry. At myself. Because you were right to not tell me. The person I was 3 years ago would have reacted exactly like I did when that photo came out. You knew me well enough to know I'd reject you. She looked at me with red eyes. What kind of mother raises a son who's afraid to tell her the truth? The kind who's trying to do better, I said quietly. That counts for something. She hugged me then, really hugged me, the way she hadn't since I was a kid. I love you, she whispered. Even when I don't understand. Even when I'm still learning. I love you. I love you too. Jake's parents visited Seattle in May. We took them to Pike Place Market, the Space Needle, all the tourist spots. His mother bought a coffee mug with a rainbow on it. For Pride Month, she explained, a little self-consciously. I thought I should participate. It was dorky and awkward and absolutely sincere. His father pulled Jake aside at one point. I watched them talk on the waterfront, serious and quiet. What did he say? I asked later. He said he's proud of me. For building a good life. For finding someone who makes me happy. Jake's voice was thick. He said he's sorry it took him so long to say it. We went to Pride that year. Not in the parade. We weren't ready for that level of visibility. But as spectators, holding hands in the crowd, surrounded by thousands of people who didn't know or care about the photo, who just saw two guys among many. Sophie found us in the crowd, pulled us into her group. We danced badly to pop music. We collected free stickers and condoms from vendor booths. We ate overpriced food truck tacos. It was normal. Wonderfully, beautifully normal. That night, lying in bed with rainbow beads still tangled in our hair, Jake said, "Do you think we would have come out if the photo had never happened?" Honestly, I don't know. Maybe eventually. Or maybe we would have just kept going year after year, until we forgot what it felt like to be honest. The photo destroyed everything, he said. But maybe everything needed to be destroyed. That's very philosophical of you. I contain multitudes. He grinned, then sobered. Seriously though. I'm not saying I'm glad it happened the way it did. I wish we could have had more control. But I'm glad we're here now. On the other side of it. Me too. We sold the apartment in July. Got a new place. 1 bedroom, no guest room, no stage sets. Just an apartment for 2 people building a real life. On moving day, I found the old roommate agreement we'd typed up 3 years ago. Rules about splitting bills, chore schedules, guest policies. All the legal language we'd used to hide what we really were. Should we keep it? Jake asked. As a reminder, I tore it up. We don't need reminders. We lived it. The new apartment had floor-to-ceiling windows that faced downtown. We hung photos on the walls, real photos, couple photos, no more hiding. My mother sent us a housewarming gift, a framed print that said, "Home is where your story begins." "She's trying," Jake observed. "She really is." In September, a year after the photo, Michael got married. Actually married this time, at a courthouse, small and intimate. We were invited. No cameras, Michael joked. We learned our lesson. His cousin, the one who'd posted the original photo, apologized to us in person. "I had no idea it would blow up like that," she said. "I just thought it was a sweet picture. I'm so sorry for the chaos it caused." "It's okay," I told her. And weirdly, I meant it. Things worked out. Still, I should have asked permission first. Yes, she should have. But dwelling on it wouldn't change anything. That night, Jake and I looked at the photo together for the first time since it happened. Really looked at it. "We do look happy," I admitted. "We were happy. We just weren't free. And now we're both." We never did make a big coming out announcement. Never posted a long explanation or a dramatic reveal. We just started living openly, and people adjusted or they didn't. Some family members came around. Some didn't. Some are still processing, which seems to be a permanent state. My father still doesn't talk about it directly, but he sends Christmas gifts addressed to both of us now. Jake's grandmother calls me "that nice young man" and asks when we're getting married. We're not engaged. Not yet. But we've talked about it. "No secret wedding," Jake said. "If we do it, everyone knows. Everyone's invited. We do it right." Agreed. My sister keeps asking to be maid of honor. Or man of honor. Or honor person. Whatever, just let me give a speech. We'll see. On the anniversary of the photo, we went back to the winery where it was taken. Had dinner. Walked through the same space where that image was captured. "Do you wish it never happened?" I asked. Jake considered. "I wish it happened differently. On our terms. But I don't wish we were still roommates. I don't wish we were still hiding." "No," I agreed. "Neither do I." We took a photo, a real one, intentional, just for us. Kissing in the same golden hour light, but this time knowing exactly where the image would go and who would see it. We posted it to Instagram with a simple caption, "1 year later. Still us. Just louder about it." It got 300 likes. A few supportive comments. Nobody freaked out. Because here's what I learned. The story doesn't end when everyone finds out. That's just where the real story begins. The story of figuring out who you are when you're not performing. The story of relationships that have to be rebuilt on honesty instead of concealment. The story of family members who surprise you and others who disappoint you, and learning to live with both. The story of being seen, really seen, and discovering that visibility doesn't destroy you. It transforms you. We're not roommates anymore. We never really were. We're just two people who love each other, trying to build a life that's true. And that's enough. That's everything.